They beat our I mean, they ran at us like we were players.
Are we hopping on the EDG train?
No.
No.
My prediction is their top 3. I believe in EDG, baby. Let's go.
Hayes sticks to his guns, man. I like that
I'm
about
sticking to
you,
my
Hayes. I
guns
like
here,
that.
all right? I believe in EDG.
What is up, everybody? Welcome to another episode of Valoranting. I'm fucking loud this morning. I don't know why. I'm joined with me with none other than Zesh and Tana Metro, and I know our run of show says no banter. We're going straight into it.
Yeah.
Fuck it. We're gonna fucking banter today. I had the fucking worst night yesterday where I was playing ranked games with fucking Tanner Metro, and we threw fucking so many rounds in the last round of OT. I stayed up to 3 a.m. to fucking lose to OT, where we're fucking winning 12-9, like we're fucking Xset versus Leviathan, and fucking lose in OT, lose more RR. I cannot rank up. I go to bed. There's a fucking fly in my face that keeps me from sleeping. I'm waking up on the wrong side of the bed. I'm wired up on coffee. And now it's time to fucking yell about Valorant, and that's what I want to talk about. Zesh, how's your fucking day going? Yeah, I'm fucking angry. I'm fucking angry this morning.
I had a wonderful day. I woke up, went to the gym, parked my car, went back home, and prepared for this episode. I had a great day. Thank you for asking, Vincily. I really appreciate how calm and collected we're starting this thing. How about you, Tanner? How are you feeling?
Tanner's in the middle, right? You're in the middle.
Yeah,
You gotta be in the middle.
No, I feel great. I woke up, it was rainbows and butterflies. Birds flew into my window, made my bed for me. And then we just sat around and waited for the show to start today. So no, Vansili couldn't be loud last night. So
couldn't
he's
be
loud
loud?
this morning.
Yeah, my wife was sleeping. She was sleeping
Fair
early,
play.
so I couldn't wake her up. So all this anger was built up
He's
inside of
getting
me,
it
so I
out.
could fucking let it out in the show. Yeah, but yeah. Well, I guess we could get into it, but I'm still probably gonna be angry. We'll see if we get some hot takes today. But before we start the first segment, of course, we are sponsored by Twitch for another episode. This show's fucking free, and you're watching it for free, but we're still getting paid for it. Thank you, Twitch. And let's go into the first segment. We are talking about a leaked agent, apparently. Somebody named Mage. There is 4 new abilities. Let's look at it, actually. I think there was some things that came out from Ryan Central. I think everybody was talking about it, too. And when we're looking at the 3 abilities, there's like a bubble that comes up. There's a fucking wall that flashes you when you cross it. There's an ult that heals you on top of that. It sounded like a fucking OP agent. Not gonna lie, that's why I wrote like a bye-bye Sage and like a bye-bye Brimstone. And like you had everything combined into this agent where it could basically just eliminate every other agent moving forward, and it has to be a must pick. But then what happens? It's a fucking elaborate lie. BOOOOHHHH actually came out and tweeted out a SOT that we're actually going to take over and listen to see how this guy fucking scammed us.
The Valorant community. As you may know, the new Valorant agent Mage was leaked, but here's what actually happened.
The new agent's abilities were completely leaked.
Break down the new Mage controller leaks because all the abilities got revealed.
That's a good
So
start.
it all began when I thought it'd be fun to create a Mage concept, but took it a step farther than I originally intended. Step 1. I started with creating icons for Mage. I just messed around until it looked good enough. I used the other ability icons as a reference to help design everything. Step 2. I made a template of where the abilities go. As you can see, I used Cypher. I then photoshopped out the abilities and blurred the bottom. Finding the right font for the text took some trial and error, but eventually found one very similar to the real thing. I reworded the text from the other agent descriptions, put in the icons, and overlaid a gray background. Finally, I covered Cypher's icon and arms. All I did was full screen the image on my computer and I took a picture from my phone. I thought to myself, why not post it on Reddit and see how far I can go?
Holy shit, that microphone is fucking terrible. But you know what? Imagine if he actually did get paid $60,000 a year and he would have still made content no matter what.
Yeah.
Holy shit, it would have gone far. He's going far. He's going places. So props to this person to make the TikTok, scammed us all in the tournament, got us going. We actually had a fun discourse about abilities and whatnot about this agent being Mage. But that said, it actually piques my interest, and I wanted to ask you guys because, you know, the most important ability that I look into this about these fake abilities is the shields. Are shields going into potentially a wrong direction for the game? And I want to know your thoughts to start things off, your Zesh.
I'm not going to lie to you. every time when I see those texts about an ability, it feels like I'm reading a little bit of Freud's psychoanalysis because I do not understand a single of those words, what they're supposed to mean when I do not see the ability. I cannot cope with what it meant. I really was reading it. I was like, what is that supposed to be? What is a line of distortion? What is a line of distortion supposed to be? I have no idea. So I was reading it and I was like, I don't care about it. I don't care about it. I'll not care about it until the thing is released because it makes no sense. It makes no sense. What has been said there makes no sense. So why would I even pay attention to it? Disliked it, hated it, couldn't read the text, couldn't cope with what it actually meant.
Holy shit, so people actually use the dislike button on Twitter? That actually works?
That works?
I see that arrow. I fucking never touch it because it's all about likes and loves on Twitter, apparently, right? But Tanner, what do you think about potentially going to shields or whatnot?
Yeah, I think that dislike button thing is a flex because I think only some people on Twitter have the ability to dislike things. So
apparently you have to be unverified for it, and that's me.
Well, that's me too, and I don't have it. So you're
I'll
bigger
get
than
fucked
I.
then, bitch.
You're bigger than I. But I think I'm the same way with Jess. When I was reading it, I was thinking, like, how does this look? I do think that it'd be kind of fun to have. Well, no, I don't actually. I don't actually think it'd be fun. I think shields would suck. My immediate thought was this is going to change the way that post plants are played, right? I was thinking like C long. You can't just run down C long and hold the angles there. Obviously, the shields would have to work like the Astra ult, the Cosmic Divide, and that utility could get through it. And if it's a bubble, then maybe you can see through it. So you're not just firing your Raze Rocket or your Shock Darts blindly. You could just, stick to your lineup game. But I do think shields would be... Let's no. Please,
but
no.
There is an ability that actually mimics the bubble a bit, and that's Astra's Cosmic Divide.
Yeah.
And when that came out too, it doesn't seem like it was going to be a big problem in the future. We've also had conversations when Killjoy came out, and then Hiko was like, oh, fuck, we're actually going to need agents with shields because the turret's going to be too OP. But look at Killjoy. She actually was greatly fitted into the meta or whatnot. Do you think they could actually do some sort of a good job, speaking about Riot, if they were thinking about adding shields into the game, Zesh?
Can you help me with the idea of shields? Because I don't know what you mean with shields. Do you mean like shields in the sense of you cannot shoot for like a Sage wall, basically?
Like a Sage wall, like an Astra Cosmic Divide, like a Gibby from Apex Legends, like a Baptiste in Overwatch, that type of shit. Reinhardt, I don't fucking know. Whatever the fuck you want.
Sure.
Every single operator in Rainbow Six has 3 shields almost deployable.
That sounds, I don't know. The thing is, I think everything is possible with Valorant. That's the cool part. Like, if I would have told you at release, there will be an agent that teleports around and has a little swirling little thing on the ground, and he also has like a sheriff that he can use, I wouldn't have thought that would be realistic.
This looks like fucking Valorant on an execution.
Yeah, this looks like a bit like it's a Killjoy old place, and then you,
I don't know. There's a lot of shit.
I feel it's possible. I feel it's always a possibility because they always create new amazing things, and this is like the cool part about the game, that everything is somewhat viable and usable, and everything that has been OP got removed, even if it took a while. Thank you, Jet. But it really was never an issue. So yes, why not use it? For me, if I'm thinking about, there's not like this one thing where I would be like, oh, this would be a game-breaking mechanic that even if nerfed, wouldn't work.
Well, for me, I just hope that if there's going to be any shields whatsoever in the near future, it doesn't take away from the sheer fundamentals of a tactical FPS, which is ping-pong swinging, trading abilities, and whatnot. I don't want to have any abilities that comes out that's going to just be like, I have to put this down, easy plant, let's play the post-plant, let's play the retake. That's just going to be a fucking rotate simulator.
Listen.
Yeah, go ahead.
I personally believe you're talking about you want the fundamentals of a shooter, where we're talking about a game where you can put a gravity well on the ground, suddenly can get invisible and get around corners again. There's too many examples of how is that now just the basic of a first-person shooter in Silly. Can you explain that to me?
At some point, those abilities are not rechargeable anymore, which then comes back to the fundamentals of tactical FPS. But the thing with the bubble being too OP is when it comes down with, it's going to be a bomb bitch, having it use its agent 100% of the time just to plant a spike, and then you're able to save all your abilities going into a post-plant, retake, or post-play. That's what I'm afraid of, and that's what shouldn't happen. So you have to find ways into taking the map control that you're going to use abilities so that you have a lot less going into the post-plant meta, or post-plant situation. So that's what I want to get into. But fuck that topic. Let's go into the next one, because I'm still angry. The next one should make some people angry. It's fucking VRL apparently not paying money on to Nom, and it's Nom not playing the players is what we're trying to get to. And it's, I think, around $9,000 in salary overall. And Nom was going into some sort of discussion saying it's about $9,000 that they couldn't pay into their team. But what they're waiting for is payment from Frenzy. And Frenzy is the ones that are running the VRLs out in the East, if I'm not mistaken. And what Frenzy is trying to say here at this point is, yeah, sorry, our bad. We can't pay these organizations because we have to go through certain processes, and it's taken a little bit more time. All this should be resolved by mid-September. But that said, if Nom didn't actually make it into a point where they would have a prize pool, shouldn't they have this money in the first place to be able to pay your players no matter what? Why do you have to wait on a prize pool coming out from Frenzy and a VRL, Zesh?
So here's the thing. You know what? I have exactly done research for this, my dear Vincili. I've done particular research in this.
Thank God you're fucking here.
Yes. So I've asked a former CS player of Nom if he ever had financial issues with the organization. He said initially yes, but that resolved after a time, and that they're actually good people. So let's start with that, right? So organizational perspective, a little weird at the beginning, but they seem to fix things. But, and here comes the interesting thing. Because we have 7 VRLs overall, this raised the question, is that the only region that has been not paid, right? That's kind of important, because is every region not paid so far? Yes or no? So that's where it gets interesting, because DACH is so far not paid throughout the entire year. East obviously has an issue. Northern has been paid. France is still waiting. Spain has been paid for the first split. So this is like from one source from each region. So please take it with a grain of salt. But, you know, it is something that, you know, people are giving me different opinions on. And this then raises the question, it is obviously the subcontractor's fault then, isn't it? Because seemingly Nordics got it right. So I think ProMod, I think, is doing that. So they got it right. They paid the people in the Nordics. Somehow DACH is missing payments from 2021. So that is a thing. East obviously has the issue, whilst Nom seemingly is an okay organization, and they're not maybe too much to blame. I don't know the specifics about that. France is waiting as well. Spain got the first. So who are we blaming in this? Probably just the organizer of exactly that region.
Yeah. So not right at this point. It's just whoever got the subcontract to be able to run these tournaments for VRL. Because, I mean, right now, and there you go, Frenzy's replying, sorry about the situation, and that's, as I mentioned before, they're trying to fix these processes to make sure that it works out. And you know what? It's the same thing that could happen in North America. We talked about it back in 2020 when Uber had like a huge rant about, you know, organizations not paying talent or whatnot too, or not paying enough. And then we had a discourse about that. And even in 2022 on fucking August 30th, that still happens to this day in North America. And I'm just going to throw a hint right there. I just hope that it gets resolved soon, because I'm still looking for some money. I'm still looking to fucking get paid. And you know what? I woke up angry silly here, and I don't want to fucking cross no other line here. It's a fucking thin fucking ice right now, and make sure that these people are taking care of their shit and taking care of the people that they're hiring as well. So let's fucking move on. Let's talk about Pearl. It's time to talk about
You're
champions.
unhappy. It's really a bad day, isn't it?
It is a fucking terrible day. It is a terrible day. Why am I fucking hosting this thing today? I'm having the worst fucking day ever of the year. Usually it never happens. Everybody knows me as fucking nice silly, but today everything's just fucking grinding.
It's mad silly.
Yeah,
Mad
exactly.
silly.
We're mad silly, we're angry silly, and it's time to actually hopefully find something, a light at the end of the tunnel, and that light is looking at the Pearl. Being Pearl
Is it though?
played at Champions coming up here, because Split is going out of the map rotation, and now we have Pearl as one of the choices in terms of the map vetoes that could be played. First thoughts, it's time to revisit it at least, because it's been like what, a month since the map came out. We had a chance to finally play inter-ranked games. So going at the thoughts, going around the table here, what are the positives or the negatives of this map here, starting with you, Tanner?
I think positives, there's no gimmicks. The positives are that it's just a straightforward map. There's no teleporters, no ropes, you know, nothing getting wonky. I will say, after watching teams play this map, I've seen it kind of both ways, but it's just almost impossible. The B site, we talked about this yesterday, Vansili. The B site needs to go, or there needs to be changes with the way that you can connect the B site through mid. because it's just impossible. So it feels like the attacking side on this map sucks. If you're not hitting A through, splitting A and art every single time, then you're just not having a good time. Or you're just running it down and it looks super puggy, super ranked. And we don't want to see that at Champions.
The thing is, I believe when I watched those particular tournaments like MCT and so on, it felt like teams just didn't think it through enough. And that's not even to blame anyone, because it feels like you're playing a Mickey Mouse tournament, as you say. How much do you prep for it? So I personally believe that it's going to be totally different in Champions. The teams are going to prepare awesomely in so much, because a thing that I've been missing, for example, when we're talking about art and double doors and all those connector positions, it felt for me when I watched those games, on other maps, teams for small rooms have nifty little set pieces that allows them to take room. So not like long set pieces where long room is taken, big room is taken, but small set pieces. Best example would be, for example, how some teams exit Garage on Haven as a CT or enter it as an attacker. Like, there's tiny little things that they do that are so well thought through, which we don't have with those teams on Pearl yet. This is at least what I felt like when looking at it. Teams were obviously putting effort in it, but it was not an FPX, a Fnatic, an Optic kind of thinking through the entire game situation. And I think that's the big advantage. Like, that's the big plus that we're seeing with coming up for Champions, that the high level play, like the high level play, is going to be really good about it.
Yeah.
So I want to counter that, though, by saying that the map is so damn big. The map is so damn big that if you're leaving, so if you have players out towards B, you have a set piece to push into, mid doors, and you're trying to link up with your team that are taking space out towards B long, you have so far to go through the link, through mid doors. And if you don't have a player watching you from mid, because the attackers could be pushing from art, they could also be pushing from A main, while your team is all the way on the left side of the map. And the player inside link, there was a round specifically in this Ghost and TSM where they tried to play a bit more lurky. They tried to play a B split. And at the end of the day, a Proto was just so late to the play out towards B long. And to your point, Zest, maybe you hammer in some of the fundamentals a bit more, than the timing can be better. But it just feels that when you're walking forward, every 3 steps you have to look backwards, because
Yeah, I see that.
you can't afford to have somebody sitting out A main or sitting in mid to make sure that your player pushing mid doors is okay from mid doors or art, while your players are trying to take space B long, and there's a chamber there who's going to rendezvous to safety. It just, the map does feel super slippery, and it could be recency bias just because of the teams that I've been watching play. And again, to your point, Zesh, once the top teams get their hands on it, it might look different. It just seems like a headache to wrap your head around how to make it work.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's like, let's take a little example, right? Because we have to take a look at, I think, how the map is being played so far. So when we take NSG Summer, let's go in the Sentinel role, because I've been looking at the numbers. So overall, Chamber 88% pick rate. Absolutely understandable. I think there's many ways, particularly as a defender, where you want that. First of all, be long, massively long space. Trying to take operator duels there seems very reasonable to play that. Same goes for A, where it can be very proactive. And the little trap can be very useful, for example, in the mid position. So do you rather, for example, say, hey, I don't want to take care of double doors, rather I have to take, personally take off art, but I put the trap there? Fine, that's like one of the options. So that out of the way, the initiator role, very Fate heavy, which I find interesting initially, because I didn't like the Fate utility too much, because first of all, this map has a lot of ceilings, right? There's a lot of places that are covered. So that's making it kind of interesting to see how that will go. Particularly on B side, for example, a Fade Haunt is useless, let's say it like that, if you don't get certainly close on the site, because it doesn't have the range. KO 55% pick rate, nobody likes Soba. And then it got interesting, because I thought Viper would be much more useful. In MCT, she had a higher pick rate, significantly higher pick rate than in NSG in MCT to pick that. Where 169 maps have been played and 8 times per
69.
You completely derailed us, man.
Listen, it's okay. I'm the boomer here. Viper had a 50% pick rate and Astra had a 71. It's a lot of annoying numbers, but it shows us one clear thing. Double controller seems to be the play, and potentially double initiator as well. And I think that makes a lot of sense, because there were a good chunk of teams that were not running a single duelist, and I get why.
Okay, I feel a little bit better because while you guys are bantering and stuff like that too, and I was angry about payments and stuff like that, things are starting to get resolved in the back end live. We're fucking doing this live chat, so we're feeling a little bit better. So I'm feeling a little bit better in the show, but I'm also very angry back again because I feel that Pearl on B site needs to be fucking blown up just like Icebox, and I want to show a video as to why. So let's start things off, Daniel, as we look at the overview here of the B site. And when you're trying to plant a spike inside the B site, where do you have to look out for where opponents could be? And this is where all the X's that I'm drawing. There are so many fucking spots, right? So you're thinking about at least like 2-3 smokes is needed to try to enter the B site. If not, like the safest place that you can plant is where I'm putting the spike right here, right? Which then means you can't really play for a post plant outside towards B long. You have to play within the site. But if you're trying to cross over inside the site, all those X's are going to be a problem. So you have to figure out what you need to do to try to get a safe plant in that spot. And that's using a fucking Viper. If it's not a Viper to split the map the way that it can in this segment that I'm showing right now, it almost makes it very, well, not nearly impossible. It makes it very difficult to try to get into the site without that. You don't really have any other plant spots aside from that double Radio Knights or the generator. And that lineup that I have covers you a little bit from heaven when you're trying to cross towards long, which is a good thing too. But then the second one is I have like a setup for a slow orb that you can actually set up on the top of heaven. So that can help you out in the post plant so you can play at least within the sites from the back site or whatnot. That's where it gets a little bit like what I don't like in terms of like when there's a new map coming out that you desperately need to have a Viper to actually get a plant down, such as Icebox, such as Breeze, and now such as Pearl. And I hope that I'm proven wrong, but also, which is why I agree, double controller would be very important. But at least primarily, you need a Viper in there, which is why I think if you're looking at champions getting ready for Pearl as well, then I would probably have to go with like Mako, probably be one of the guys that you will probably see some great Viper coming out of this player on that map. I mean, he's done a great job playing Viper before on Icebox. He's great within the pit. He's able to use the orb quite well in terms of anchoring sites too. I think we should keep a lookout for Mako of DRX here going into Pearl. But yeah, this is going to be a very interesting one. Do you guys think there's going to be any other type of like must-have agent to go into your composition for Pearl?
Fate, KO, Astra, Viper, I think seems to be the most reasonable approach to it. I saw Zoms try Brimstone. I didn't see that as too successful. I think considering particularly the width of the map, it doesn't necessarily make sense to use an agent that has a limited smoke radius. So I'm quite certain that that's going to be the pick. Sage could be an option. I think Cloud9 was running Sage, which was very interesting because it also denies a lot of the space, a thing that you talked about, right? It gives you safer plants as an attack, and it denies some of the space for defenders to enter. So that could be an option as well, that we actually go into a no duelist meta, and if we go into a more aggressive meta, where you have to take control personally, to put it that way, I think Raze is going to be the best choice in that sense. So that's
or Neon, Tanner?
Sorry, I was reading the chat and I was thinking about just quickly slipping in. This is why we need shields on Pearl.
No, no. I don't want that shit. I don't want to be angry again here, Tanner. And I'm being fucking toxic so far in this show, and I apologize. But you know one place that isn't toxic, at least?
Oh.
It's juke.gg. That's right. You guys could actually download the app from the Apple Store or the Play Store, the Android Store, to actually talk with like-minded people. They're actually our second sponsor for the show. Thank you so much for hanging out with us, and not hanging us out to dry, because Juked are fucking awesome. You guys could actually have you actually have to have your identity verified from like telephone or whatnot. So there's no trolls on there, at least for now. And it's they have a great anti-toxicity stance, and that's what I liked. Which is why today for the show I'm gonna be a little bit angry, but then once we leave the show, I should be okay on Juke.gg. Make sure you download the app, follow your favorite esport. They have stuff on Valorant, Call of Duty, Apex, Overwatch, and you're able to get notifications and up-to-date updates on what's going on within your respective scenes. It's actually quite cool. Give it a check out.
I just saw that someone had, I think Seltzer had Team Fortress 2 on her like favorite games, and was like, what year am I caught in? Team Fortress. Does anyone still play Team? Did you play Team Fortress, Vincili? You're an older man.
Yes.
I played Team Fortress 2. I casted Team Fortress in 2008 in San Diego for the Envision tournament. Bren actually even played Team Fortress 2 2 weeks ago on his stream. And it's actually a fucking fun game still. So don't fucking diss TF2, Zesh. You're in my fucking territory on this show right now. You don't want to stir this fucking pot.
No. You seem to be having a really good time today, so I'll rather leave you like that.
Perfect. Let's get on to the next topic. Let's talk about some excerpts that we actually had. We had actually a pre-press conference before Champions starting tomorrow. And there has actually been that excerpt that we have from Haodong that actually wants to talk about their position going into Champions. Let's check it out.
But we are confident to take down Paper Rex. If you ask me about like the winning rate against Paper Rex, I would say like 60-40. We are gonna be the 60 part.
We also have another, actually, excerpt that's not from the press conference, but I think it relates to this quite well. It was our very own Yinsu. She's fucking awesome, by the way, with all these interviews. If you guys haven't been following her on fucking YouTube right now, you better fucking do it, because there's some great interviews that she has with players out there. And the first one that she did in Mandarin, actually bringing in Kang Kang into a Mandarin interview, and let's see what Kang Kang has to say.
我喜欢那个自信的字儿，是因为你们很自信。每一次我看你们打，每一个minute，every minute，你们非常非常自信。为什么你们这么自信啊？是哪里拿到的这种感觉？
就可能平时的训练加上自己，天赋吧，就加上自己感觉有这上面的天赋，然后不断的练习，然后教练给我们传输的那些东西，然后让我们导致每个人都有那种 feel， 就那种感觉，所以说就会越打越自信，越打越猛。
Are we hopping on the EDG train finally after the press conferences, after the interviews with Yinsu, after all the hype of seeing how Edward Gaming were fucking dominating the East Asia qualifiers, Zesh?
No.
Tanner.
Wow. No.
Zesh, why?
Okay, listen, I explain to you. First time playing. I think it's as simple as that. I think it's a different beast when you play on LAN. It seems to be like a very classic theme that just reoccurs time and time again. And they're playing against teams who surely don't know their playstyle that well. I give them that, right? Coming in with a big surprise in the East Asia qualifier, they were absolutely mental. But particularly that duel they have versus Paper X. So here's my assumption, and I could be that I didn't pay attention in the interview, but it should be from a perspective of geography that they might be capable with decent ping to play against Paper Rex. I don't want to say that they prac against them. I'm not 100% sure. It could be the case in the past. But obviously,
are you discrediting Fun Plus Phoenix's first fucking LAN at Copenhagen that they actually ended up winning?
That's a different thing. That's
Why is it different?
Why it is a different thing. They're coming in with the big papa himself from Ukraine. Big dude, always smiling, shit posting 24/7 when he's in the off season, right? Liking Sentinels, even giving credit to Shroud. Man is milking Twitter, right? First of all, that great guy like Angel, and they have absolutely ice cold players in their team. Have you ever seen Xiao looking sad? No, man smiling, man is calm, man is cool, and they've been doing this forever. In Edward Gaming perspective, no, I mean, what else? Yeah,
okay. So you're telling me about confidence and how cool they look in and out of server. Have we just seen the interview from Kang Kang and also from Haodong, how confident they are? Have you watched their games of how they're actually able to frag out and play aggressively? Even at this point, we talk about a lot of confidence that this team has, and it's almost a confidence that they might have against PRX that they might be able to win against PRX at 60-40%. And on top of that, even PRX said the first team that we don't want to play going into Champions is fucking Edward Gaming. And they're fucking playing Edward Gaming. So, Tanner, what's your take on this? Do you think they're actually going to be able to beat PRX?
I think I need help. Mom and dad are fighting again.
Go back to your room. Speak now. Yeah, sorry.
I think So I didn't dig too deep on this EDG squad. They do seem to be playing with a lot of confidence. Kang, the dude is ice cold. Really the entire squad. My initial thoughts were they got a lot of moving pieces. I think they really need to figure out where we're gonna be at specific roles. Where we've got Haodong, playing the duelist in some games as the IGL and the Neon who wants to look to run in, but that in other games, sitting back, initiator role. I think that is something that we've seen kind of get fleshed out as a whole across Valorant. We saw a lot of that at the start of Valorant, and now we're starting to see players play their specific roles. I think that's going to be a big factor. I also think that you're playing the number 2. You're playing Paper Rex, and to Zesh's point again, it's different on LAN, and it's not that Masters is much smaller, but this is the biggest thing that you could do in Valorant to this date, right? So I think you'd be a little crazy to believe in EDG to just show up to Champions for the first time ever and win the whole damn thing. I just don't think that's happening.
The big thing I'm asking myself, how good will After and Muggle be? Because how much, first of all, what has Paper X been cooking up? I think Lothar has been a big supporter. Love Lothar, always the best guy. He has been a big supporter of saying that I think, I could be wrong, I don't want to put something in his mouth that's not true. He said Paper X could have beaten FPX if they would have had significantly better fundamentals. So what did Paper X work on over time? That's one big question. Second of all, how much do After and Muggle prepare against the Paper X? Do they even prepare against the Paper X? Because a lot of could be done if anti-striding works, in case we see a repetition of play. How much that could work against the Paper X? Because they're very unconventional, right? They're very fast, they're very swift, sure, they show tendencies. That would be something I would be very curious to see on how much they have. Because this is like a team that comes in with 2 coaches. And I think same with Japanese teams, their coaching staff is usually very big and very determined. So I'm looking forward to what kind of impact that has.
We'll have to wait and see what happens, right? And I need to calm down. I need to fucking calm down. And you know what happens? You know what we need when we need to calm down? We actually need those fucking pets that you could actually just those dogs or cats that they bring at the hospitals so that you could just fucking pet and calm down. It's time to look at cats. We got our friends and peers and gamers and participants at Champions currently in Istanbul. And I see nothing in my timelines but fucking cats. I'm more of a dog guy, but I do love cats too.
Same.
So let's go through them. It's fucking cute. I feel good. I feel a little bit better. I actually feel, you know what? I'm angry again. Because I feel bad by looking at all of these pictures.
Yeah.
That Cloud9 actually isn't at Champions. Because Vanity would fucking have the time of his life in Istanbul right now. And he can't do it. Now he has to stay home and look at fucking cats online only. But what do you guys think? Which one's the cutest cat out of all the bunch we have so far?
Can we go more further? Oh, this was the last cat. My memory cannot comprehend. I'm not gonna lie to you. I don't really care about cats. So last cat was kind of cute.
Nice.
Wow,
Tanner?
that's recency. That's recency.
Tanner, you were cat ears. You were cat ears, Tanner. So I know you have a better opinion on this.
Yeah, my opinion on this is, and I said it before the show. Option 3 looks like the Champions sweater.
Oh,
so
yeah, true,
option 3 definitely takes the cake for me. And you know what? For option 1, I'm more of a dog guy than a cat guy myself. It's not fair, people. You can't just vote for the kitten. That's not fair to the cats that are out here looking cute as hell. And then this kitten just rolls up. That thing's been alive for 7 weeks and it wins the YouTube poll for Do Not Peek. That's not okay. It's not okay.
I'm just trying to get this out on time. Yeah, it looks like it. There you go. I got mine. I'm ready.
Okay, what do we have here? So I personally have to say I don't have. There's not many cats I have sympathy with. That's a problem. So like,
wait, what did cats do to you, Zesh?
Nothing. I don't care about them. I don't care about. It's like, for Christ's sake.
Nice. Okay, man's pulled him out. I don't have mine.
Is that what calms you down, Silly? Is that the thing where you're like, put the cat?
Listen, this is like the first time that I'm on camera and I haven't actually yelled for the last 10 seconds. So yeah, I think this fucking works.
So basically,
props to version 1 cat ears and to Vanity to put this on the map.
Does that mean you being a Discord kitten makes you calm?
Meow. Let's go on and talk about more Champions. We actually have some quotes coming out from some of the coaches participating in Champions, most specifically the North American coaches, and that is going to be a very fun one to look at. Let's read through them. Starting things off, we have one from Xset's coach being Psycho, and I don't want to read guys. There's Psycho, nice try, or actually, if you try to read it through one single word, that's something that Mitch could say, and I won't. But I think it's Psycho. Done. I'm just fucking with you. But all throughout the 2 years' history, we have stayed consistent or gotten better with each tournament we play. We intend to continue this by applying lessons we learned at our first international event to be better prepared and achieve greater results at this next event in Istanbul. Massive thank you to everyone who believes in and supports us. Now, before we go into the next coach, I actually want to talk about this because they basically Psycho's talking about how they wanted to work on some things that they've learned throughout the last event. Then we actually had the pre-conference for champions interviews today where they had cryocells, and the questions was asked of like, hey, what did you guys change differently from the last event into now to make sure that you're prepared? And Cryocell said, we didn't change too much. And that shit gets me fucking worried because I don't know if you guys saw the game against Leviathan, but that shit was fucking chaotic and not any good for Xset at all. And that actually made me fucking mauled. I mean, Melzer TPs into heaven, loses his spike in round number 24, yet Xset still loses a round by smoking themselves out towards spawn and lose on a fucking post plant from Leviathan in overtime. I hope that they actually worked on something and that they changed something here, Zesh.
What if working, they haven't changed much, means that they have just improved on what they've done? Think about it. If they just improved their fundamentals and just got better at what they have been doing good, but not good enough, then it could be fine. You know what I mean? Can you follow my idea?
I see.
They're running strats where they put the spike down in front of all 5 of them and say, hey, deal with it. Figure it out. What are you doing here? You've got the spike. Don't lose the round. That's what Xset are working on right now.
Yeah. Or sometimes when you have actually the spike down under 2 versus 1, how the fuck do you win that against Melzer as well? Round number 19 is set. Back, and let's talk about 100 Thieves with Sean Garris. Let's see what he has to say about the confidence of this team going into the event. We're feeling confident heading into Groups of Champions. We've taken some time after LCQ, only 1 week, by the way, to prep our new patch and get Pearl added onto our map pool. Our opening match against Fnatic should be super fun because they have a style unlike any NA team we play against. We're also stoked to play against DRX Fury as well, but we're taking it 1 match at a time. Honestly, if we're communicating and hitting shots like we did in our LCQ run, we could beat anyone. We all know that, and that's what we look to achieve. I believe in that as well, because after watching LCQ and watching just Bang pop off, just watching Asuna doing Asuna things, just Derek clutching every single fucking round, and also Will is actually fragging out as well back into the LCQ. So if that's going to be the form of 100 Thieves going into Champions, I'm happy in terms of the firepower. But strats-wise, will they be ready against a team like Fnatic, who are also a team that goes deep into the book? I mean, Zesh, I wanted to give it a Tanner, but you seem to be vocal here. You got something to say.
Yeah, there's one. I'll give it to Tanner any day. The only thing that I find very interesting is how good or how diverse will LCQ teams be. Because the time frame is much shorter, particularly talking about Pearl, right? LCQ didn't have any Pearl. They were still in the split train. So that means how much is the diversity of a strat book, because you just mentioned it, how much is that changed in comparison to those teams that were always like chilling and being like, you know what, we don't need to care about that because we're going to Champions anyway. You know, I think that is going to be quite interesting to see if there's a clear tendency in that.
Yeah, and I spoke about it with Mike's before too, and I've mentioned it on the previous show. You guys could always check out the past VODs on youtube.com/Valoranting. Plug right there. I put it somewhere. It was on a run of show. But Mike's was also saying that, you know, the best thing they could do is at least get out of groups and they'll be happy. So we hope for that, but it's some tough competition. It's DRX, it's Fnatic, it's Furia. Maybe less on Furia, but Fnatic and DRX going to be a very tough one to try to get through. But speaking about a team that sometimes need the confidence, sometimes doesn't because they look like they're the best team in the world, that is Optic Gaming. What the comps are running will either get first or last. Hopefully first. This is almost like a Talladega Nights. So what are your thoughts actually looking at Optic Gaming going into Champions after seeing them through Stage 1 and Stage 2 here, Tanner?
Yeah, I think Optic have had a lot of time, and I think we're going to see a lot of returning similar faces. Like the teams that are just joining us in groups, the 100 Thieves, the EDGs. I don't think they're making it that far. I don't think they're going to be really on the radar for Optic, and I think that makes it super easy for, it's you guys talk about strats. It sounds like Optic, quite honestly, might just be looking to run it down with some crazy things. I think that probably means some Phoenix, a lot more Neon, I would imagine, especially if we're getting Pearl. I think Neon is an agent that does well on Pearl, and Optic have been running that since the beginning. But no, I think Optic are in a great spot. They've literally just been able to hang out and kind of just get it figured out. And like I said, I don't think outside of the top teams that we've already mentioned, in the FPXs, the PRXs, the Fanatics, the Liquids, maybe, I think they've got their eyes set on a few, and those are really their biggest worries.
Yeah. I think we're looking still at coin flips where we're trying to predict these games to our Valorant champions, because it is so the skill ceiling has grown, and it's continuing to grow, and it's just so hard to stay at the top right now as a top contender, as a top team. But at least Optic for me is still one of those favorites that could win champions, and that brings me to this point. Zesh, who do you think is going to win champions in 2022 in Turkey?
Dude, this is the toughest question I've ever asked in my life.
Bro, I keep bitching at our production saying that our shows are going 3 hours long. So you better fucking answer right now.
Hey. Calm down, please, Vincili. I need to take my time. I'm not the youngest anymore. I still have to think about things, because at the end of the day, you still want to be right? I want to be, at the end of the day, screaming at the screen, be like, I knew it. So I think I go with the safe option. Do I go with the safe option? Because I think FPX is a coin flip. Will they absolutely shit the bed, or will they be insanely good? That's what I'm not so sure about.
So who's your safe bet if it's not Fun plus Phoenix?
It is my safe bet. Fun plus Phoenix is my safe bet. I don't know, man. I pick FPX. Fuck it, man. Do I want to pick FPX?
Yes, you do.
We'll get back to you, Tanner.
Yeah,
fucking answer.
I'm sorry, man.
Yeah, listen, so Zesh did such a good job, and I love Zesh's energy coming into the show, defending North America and what XSET are looking to do as we jump into champions. So I'm right there with him. EMEA stands rise. I think just based off of what we have going into champions, FPX still probably are the best team in the tournament, and Suigetsu is probably still the best player in the world right now. So yeah, I go with FPX as well.
Zesh?
Fuck it, I pick Liquid. I trolled. I pick Liquid. Let me fucking troll. Let me fucking troll. Give me the prancing horse, as everyone hates me when I say that. Give me fucking Team Liquid. I want to see it. You know what I want to see? I want to see that fight. The fight between FPX Grand Final, FPX versus Liquid. And I want to see both coaches, obviously Eric and Emil, shake hands and be like, it was a good fight, brother. I want to see that. I want to see that brotherly love.
I want to see the, I think I mentioned it before, but the walkout with the jerseys, and they're wearing the wrong jerseys and coming outside the wrong side of the stage during the walkouts. And then it's kind of like the Spider-Man pointing fingers kind of thing. That'll be fucking awesome. Here's the real strategy on how you predict Zesh. So, running back asked me and who I predicted to win champions, and I said FPX, because FPX like really damn good during Copenhagen, and then I want that storyline of a back-to-back. But then for this show, since you guys are both going for EMEA, I have to go back to NA so that we have at least some NA representative here going into the champions winner prediction. And I'm going to predict Optic Gaming just because they are literally the favorite to win outside of FPX, probably neck and neck in terms of winning a champions. I'd love to get that for NA. And then now I could predict here. So Daniel, please put Optic. And then now if I'm right for FPX, I get it from Run It Back. And then I could quote that one. If I actually win this one here, I could quote this one from Valoranting. And now if I get none of them, then fuck me, right? So let's lock it into that. Let's wish them luck. Champion starts tomorrow. Why Optic?
Yeah, give me. They didn't look too great last time in Copenhagen. They looked okay. Right? They looked all right. Third place, give them that. Lost versus FPX. But were you convinced?
Yeah.
Yeah?
Yeah. It's the first time. It's the first time they played FPX. It's the first time they played PRX. Well, I guess they played a few times with first time they played PRX because I was thinking about X10 and Xerxia. That's different. So that means that coming into Champions, you follow with the same storyline that Optic is going to come back with a vengeance. And they also had more time to prep and not only 1 week going into Copenhagen. So that means that when we thought that it was going to be steel, with Optic looking steel a little bit at Copenhagen, because they kept their neon. They kept the same comps as they kind of did during Stage 2 and Masters 1 that they won. So teams were able to read that up and anti-strat it, right? Now they had time to work it out, and Chet's going to work out some fucking magic with FNS. You know what? Run it back. I'm going to switch my prediction over to Optic as well. We're going full throttle with 100 Thieves. With Optic Gaming. Hands down, doubling down. That's it. Don't try to argue back, Zesh. This is my fucking show. I'm hosting this time. Maybe after this show, I might get fired when I try to get Mitch back. But at least for now, for today, it's fucking mine. So we locked it in for that. It's time to go for a break. When we actually come back, we do have James the Wisdom Hayes Cobb from Energy, the IGL, to come in and interview with us and have fun for the next 45 minutes after the break. But before the break, of course, one more thank you to twitch.tv to help us out, pay out the bills. And now let's actually pay those bills, and we'll see you after that.
If you're enjoying Valoranting, feel free to follow us on our other socials. We're over at Twitter at Valoranting, and of course, every Tuesday, 11 a.m. PT, we're live on twitch.tv/DNP.
Friends, welcome back to Valoranting. I finally had time to fucking breathe. We had 5 minutes to cool down. James came on right now on Discord. We got to shoot the shit a bit, and I feel a lot better right now. And speaking of James, let's bring him on. It's James, the Wisdom, Hayes, Cobb, the IGL from Energy, coming to join us here for an interview. And I don't know, man. I think you said you liked it before, James, to be called the Wisdom. Are you going to change your alias to that?
No, but that was a hell of a name you gave me. I still remember that match, too, when you called me that. Honestly, it's good. I like that one. The Wisdom.
Hey, man. I mean, you've been around the block in the attack FPS scene. You've been around for a very long time in Counter-Strike Go. You played at the top level for Counter-Strike, in my opinion, as well. I mean, I think you had a few major runs too, trying to qualify into that. So, it's only fitting that we call you the Wisdom, especially that you're catching up to my current age, and you have a lot of experiences to share. Thankfully, at my age, my hair still has a little bit of purple, but you seems to be starting to go gray a bit here.
Hey, now be careful.
Take a step back, man. Holy shit, killing
Shit,
the guy.
my bad. I thought we were cooling down. I thought it was cooling down for a bit, but
I mean, listen. I think his hairline looks a little better than yours.
That's true. I will agree to that. I will attest to that. You
That's
got
the one thing I got is the hairline. The hairline is immaculate. The gray is seeping in. Like when I trimmed up my beard a couple days ago, and it's just like, I noticed there's a gray patch. I don't think you can really see it on camera. There's like a patch right here in this area. Yeah, it is, man. It worries me every time.
You know what? Look at mine, Daniel. I think you had that zoom in shit. Put the zoom in back in my face. I have to show you mine. So I haven't shaved in like 3 days, right? And this is what it looks like. So when I don't shave for like 3 or 4 days, I have a little bit that comes out of my dimples right here. Right? Then there's a gap. Then you have this here.
Too close.
Hey. And then a little bit. So like if I wait 10 years, I could maybe have a Fu Manchu. But if not, if I just grow this, I look like fucking Hitler. So and I'm fucking 38, James. I'm 38. So okay, let's time out. So yeah, we're derailing. Let's talk about your experience here, James. Let's talk about. Let's get to talk
with
about
me
your
on the show. With me on the show.
I'm fucking sorry, Zesh. I apologize. I definitely went too far. Well, let's talk about your experience here from going into all the years of tactical FPS, talking about CS and Valorant. So you've played at least, 10 years in CSGO. You've made the switch over to Valorant. Is there anything that you took away from your career within CSGO that you're able to apply currently into Valorant?
Oh, man. I think IGLing towards the end of my career helped me a lot in understanding, like, team dynamics, like, because before I IGL'd, I was an entry fragger, so I didn't see the game the way everyone else did because everyone was behind me supporting me, and I was kind of like leading the charge a lot. I was a very aggressive player. When I switched to IGLing, I kind of like got to see how the team like can help each other into like doing what the entry guy had to do. So that helped me a lot. It just gave me a broader vision of what needs to happen and around it. And also, there was a brief time where Steele was our coach. That was completely against the rules, by the way, at the time. But he like really taught me some very useful lessons, and so I think that helped me big time. And towards the end of my Go career was learning to IGL and like learning how to support teammates better. Yeah.
Well, so in that IGL role, obviously in Counter-Strike, I feel like having the run that you did, you know, you're playing with people who have been in the scene for quite some time as well. Then you switch over to Valorant, and now you're having to IGL again, but you're doing it with, you know, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20-year-old kids. How is that? Is that, we talked about cats on the show, but is it like herding cats and trying to keep everybody, you know, entertained with what's going on and teach them actually how to play the game?
You know, I wouldn't say it's like herding cats, but it's struggle sometimes because I didn't, you know, I didn't switch to Valorant. It wasn't like a conscious choice that I was like, oh, I'm going to go pro in Valorant, so I'm just switching over. I was just playing for fun. And it kind of just naturally happened. And we made that team, the initial TSM roster. And that was just to play tournaments. We didn't have an IGL. We were just playing the tournaments just to play. And then as it got more serious, then we were like, okay, we actually need someone to IGL because this is not going to work long term. Like we all just knew it. And so I was like, I mean, we juggled it, but I initially started as IGL. The Rosa did it for a little bit, Color did it for a little bit, but yeah, it wasn't really a big problem in that team because everyone on that team like really listened. They were like really good team players. They always listened to the IGL, no matter who it was. However, when I switched to NRG, okay, that was like herding cats. Okay, man, what the hell is? I can't even describe what it's like to play with some of these guys when I first switched. I'm like, this game has been out for 1.5 years already. They've been an established team, and I swear to God, it was the most confusing thing. Like people were just doing. I'd be like, yo, well, let's just run this default. We'll just default. And so everyone knew what to do off of like a certain default. But then in the mid round, it would just be like almost completely silent, and then this guy would get picked off, this guy would get a kill, this guy would get picked off right after getting a kill. And I'm like, what is going on, guys? There's no communication. No one's like saying, yo, do this, we'll follow up in this way. It was so weird.
Sounds like on my ranked games with Tanner yesterday.
Bro,
Fuck. Yeah. Holy shit.
It was slightly better than a rank game. Slightly. Just slightly. Okay. But they got away with it.
It's a very interesting question because this raises a lot of things. Like I'm giving shout out to my best Polish friend Lofar at this point. I think Simple made this comment where I think quote unquote those fucking Valorant players need to stop overpeaking.
Tark stream.
Yeah. And this always brings to the point, like you said with NRG, which is kind of weird because you play. I don't know who you're particularly talking about, but Sam and Ethan have been, let's say, somewhat established CS players, right? So this raised the question for me. Is it an A thing? Is it a general Valorant thing? Is it what is it? Because fundamentals right now, CS is like how old, 20 years plus, and people don't get fundamentals right. Isn't that kind of weird to experience, to be like, hold on, we're playing the same game, right?
Yeah, so I think it's a pretty interesting topic because I think you said it's an NA thing or is it a Valorant thing? I think it's both. I don't think it's just one of them. And I also think it's like a deep-seated problem with being like the star, like getting the clips. And this is as you kind of alluded to, it happens in CS still. It's like they don't play fundamentally correct. Whenever you get like 2 or 3 kills, I'm guilty of it too. If I have like a really nice like 3K, I want to go for the 4th and 5th.
Yeah.
Because it's gonna look nice. And you want to be, and I think this stems from frag movies, like back in the day. This is like a problem that started, 15 years ago.
Fort Minor videos, Linkin Park.
Exactly.
Yeah.
You always want to go for the clip. You want to be in the frag movie. Like it makes you popular and it gives you more opportunities both in streaming and also outside of streaming. You get brand deals because people view you as like, like Scream, for example. You get those crazy one taps. He was always an amazing player, but he got cut from a lot of top teams
Yep.
for a reason. And that's not to say he's a bad player. He is an incredible player. He's way better than me. But fundamentally, he has
Don't
a
sell yourself
problem,
short, James.
right? So
Yeah.
I think it is a problem in NA because of that. But also Valorant is an issue because you have characters like Jet, like Chamber, like Reyna that have these get out of jail free cards. Whereas in Counter-Strike, if you're out of position, you could get your 1 or 2, but sometimes you would just die and you couldn't get away. But in this game, you can have terrible positioning and get away. And so I think that causes an issue with fundamentals as well. Kind of blurs the line of what's good fundamentally.
This opens up the book because I think we're having this old dusty book that we're now opening up called Fundamentals, because this raises the big question about Valorant as well. Because I had this discussion about teams coming up with new fancy shit instead of working on fundamentals because it's quick rewarding, right? Do you personally believe that in a game like Valorant, always developing new strats can get you further than working once on your fundamentals, getting them real good, working with the fundament, and then moving on strategically?
I tend to lean to the side of strategies. I think being innovative is really important, especially in a game that comes out with frequent updates with agents that are also
lacking
being
fundamentals and new strategies. Sorry, lacking fundamentals and new strategies.
Well,
you think that has a higher reward?
I think so. I think if you ask me that question about Counter-Strike, I think fundamentals are more important.
Yeah. Agreed.
But in this game, I think being on top of the meta and being ahead of it is more important than being fundamentally sound, which goes against everything that I've been taught.
Makes sense. No.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Sesh. You're going to continue.
It's just super interesting because I had this discussion and it feels like it's a super thin line because with, as you said, the game constantly changing, it feels a lot like if you are once fundamentally good, like you don't overpeak, you don't make those mistakes, everything you know as fundamentals that wins you fights is something that you can prevail with. But it feels like in Valorant, it is just not enough. It is just not enough to have a simple strat, but really good fundamentals. At least it feels like that because I think no teams right now has really good fundamentals, like really, really, really good fundamentals.
Yeah, I tend to agree. And like I said, I think the line of fundamental is just blurred in this game because there's so much to keep track of. I mean, I'm someone who at the start of the round, I'm trying to track every ultimate, how many orbs, how close are they, how much money we have, how much money they have. What strat do I want to call based on all of that? There's just like there's just way more information to process in this game than there is in Counter-Strike, in my opinion. And so fundamentally, you could be doing something that you think is correct, but because mid-round things can change so dramatically that suddenly what you did is actually not the right play, even though fundamentally it is the right play.
Yeah.
So it's just very blurred in this game, and it drives me crazy because I just never know what's the right choice. I just don't.
And it gets me to think too, because now at the beginning of the rounds, you're thinking about what happens and who's at what position in terms of ultimate orbs or whatnot and economy. But even in the mid round or even early rounds, you have to figure out what utility has been used, what's left, what place you could take advantage of, but within a certain window, because you have to think about abilities that could also refresh within 30 seconds, 35 seconds as well. And you got to time that out too. So it does get very intricate, which then brings me to a part where I wanted to ask about the, again, CSGO experience. Is it transferable to Valorant even as a coach? So as a coach, if you have to think about CS fundamentals, yes, training, scaling, spacing, and then of course site execs. But then it comes down to also all of the abilities that are coming out in Valorant right now. Is the CSGO experience enough, or does it provide enough insight for a player to be ready or for a team to be ready for a tournament?
Is it enough? I think that the good thing about switching if you were pro or even semi-pro in Counter-Strike and then you make the swap to Valorant, I think you have an edge because you already, in that game, it focuses so much on fundamentals that you have that base that a lot of players who just started in Valorant maybe don't have. Like you have the teamwork built already. And so that helps you big time in Valorant. Then you just have to learn Valorant. And then so I think you have an advantage in that sense. I don't know about other games, but I think from CS, yeah, the fundamental base that you learn from CS is really important.
Okay. Okay, so there's one interesting question about this because I had this conversation because for fun I was working with VRL team and was sitting in their pracs, and there was this conversation I had with a CS coach about coaching itself where they said a thing that might be not realized by other Valorant coaches are protocols, where protocols is basically I would describe them as an order of commands that is shaped into one small bracket that everyone has automated in their head. And this is something where I think coaching experience from like games like CS is something probably super helpful because those things are really freeing up some space in your mind. Would you say that's actually one of those things that actually coaches from CS can really apply to Valorant?
Oh, for sure. Protocols are incredibly important, both in CS and in Valorant. So, you know, even though Valorant is much more like confusing mid-round to know what the right choice is, if you have a protocol, I've always said this, I think it's more important to have 5 people on the same page making the wrong decision than everyone on a different page and maybe making the right one. It's just like, it doesn't matter if the call's good or bad. As long as you all follow through with it, you can still win. So protocols are really important for that because you can distill something down into, like you said, 1 or 2 words. It could be, you know, a paragraph of instructions. And so everyone knows what to do. And that gives your players the freedom to be able to call things in the middle of it, in the mid round. It's a very clean communication. I mean, it makes it easier as an IGL. So yeah, definitely if I was a coach switching, I would definitely keep the protocols. You're gonna have to create more. It's really hard in this game. We have a ton of protocols and even I forget them sometimes because there's just so much to follow. But yeah, you should definitely have a few protocols for like every map, every side.
Yeah.
Sure.
It gets me to ask you as well, James, about a current coach that you've played with in the past too in CS:GO, which is used to be known as just lounging, you know, like JDM, Josh. So you've played with him in Mouse Pass in CS:GO, and he's always been known to be a prominent opera. And usually, operas don't really have like that IGL mindset and necessarily like Fallen or something too. But he was just mainly that person to come out and get frags for Mouse Pass, and then when he left CS:GO, had a huge break, and then suddenly just appears as a coach here for FaZe Clan. So I want to know insights a little bit about JDM's perspective within his CS:GO days that you think would be good that he could apply in his coaching experience with FaZe. What does he bring to the table for FaZe Clan?
Okay, I'm gonna be completely honest. I love Josh. Let me just start off by saying I love Josh. Right?
I love where
Josh.
this is going. I always love it when you start to answer that way.
Okay. The thing is, I don't know what he's like in this game because I've never played with him and I've never been in the room when he's coaching. So I don't know what he brings, but I can tell you, and whenever I played with him on CLG, it was so funny. Pujon, so FNS was our IGL at the time, and I remember this conversation, and we're playing Dust 2, and Pujon go like mid round, he was like, yo, Josh, can you walk up cat and just try and walk pick it? And Josh goes, I'm not comfortable doing that. And this is like mid match. And Pujon goes, what the fuck do you mean you're not comfortable doing that? Do what I said. And like, it just started this war. And so that always stuck with me. I'm like, okay, Josh was really tough to work with. They argued all the time. He's really tough to work with, but he's such a nice guy, which is so crazy. So I don't know what happened in between then and now, but so, I imagine he's changed. I imagine, but he was so like stubborn. To be fair, I think we all were. Like I was an ultra stubborn person. I still kind of am, but it like I can't even comment on what it's like for him coaching this game because it's like I said, it's been like 5 or 6 years since I played with him. I don't know what happened, but yeah, I'm just happy to see him back. Honestly, I love the guy, and yeah, we've had some good times. But he's an interesting fellow.
Nice.
So to that, kind of staying on the same topic, or you know, people coming over again, maybe a little bit later. I say later, but Valorant's still super early. Do you think we're getting to a point where it is going to get harder for We see players looking to come over. Obviously, Shroud playing, Stewie2K, like those guys are playing. But even in the coaching sphere, right, coming over from traditional tactical shooters, we'll just say Counter-Strike in general, to Valorant, where now we're up to 17 agents or 18 agents. And like, at what point do you think there's a point where it's like, hey, we just can't, it's too much to try and digest, right? Playing League of Legends right now is almost impossible to learn. Uh-oh.
Sorry.
Are you all right? James, are you all right? Holy
that wasn't
shit.
me.
That was me.
Sash, are you okay? What the fuck?
I'm fully fine. Please go on.
I'm not gonna lie, that took me completely out of the question. What was the question again?
Do you think, are we getting to a point in Valorant that it is getting too hard to transition because of how much is happening? Like even this new agent flexing that, shields might be introduced to the game.
Yeah, I think the longer you wait, the harder it's going to be. To be honest, I think the window has already kind of came and gone. I think at this point there's so many young, talented players that have made their way up the ranks in Valorant alone that it's hard to break in. Like it's hard for me to say it. Like Stu is like a generational talent, and it is hard for me to justify saying like you should pick up Stu over, like who's like even like Bang, for example, if that was an option, because there's just so many good young talented players that deserve shots that it's hard for me to justify that. So I think the longer it goes on, the harder it's going to be to switch. And I think even now you probably even shouldn't. Unless you're willing to grind, these guys are going to need to grind for at least 6 months. Because like even like Shroud, I'm so happy to see him in the scene. Like I love the guy, I love Mike. And I love anyone who's been a part of the CSGO scene that I got to like experience pro play with. I have a lot of respect for those people. And even when he got picked up, I talked about it on stream. Someone asked my thoughts on it. I was like, I don't think they should have gotten him. They should have got someone else. There's people who've been grinding Valorant who probably would be better. And statistically, it kind of showed. He's a fundamentally great player. Has some of the best fundamentals of any player I've ever seen. However, he's not playing Valorant. He's playing Counter-Strike when you watch him play. And you have to be playing Valorant. So, yeah.
So, does this mean then when you actually made the switch over from CS to Valorant that there were some things that you needed to relearn when you were playing Valorant outside of like the abilities portion? Because I remember at some point when Valorant first came out 6 months down the road, everybody was talking about, oh, you got to unbind crouch because crouch is fucking useless in the game versus like CSGO where you're crouching every opportunity that you have.
No, you're like crab spraying in Counter-Strike. You don't do that in this. You don't understand. It took me like 4 or 5 months on the Switch to stop crab spraying. I did it non-stop. No, there's definitely things that I even still struggle with. Like in Counter-Strike, crossfiring is such a fundamental thing you do, especially on like low or no util. You just go into a crossfire and it's probably going to work. It won't always work, but most of the time. In this game, I feel like crossfires work like 10% of the time because there's so many different pieces of utility you have to account for. There's scans, flashes. Someone can put up a wall that cuts off one side of it. It's just like there's so much crap you have to deal with that crossfires almost seem useless. However, they're still decent at times. So you have to know when to use certain things and when not to. And it's just much harder. You can't. Yeah, you really have to have a lot of experience in Valorant, and you can't think like, okay, because I played Counter-Strike, I'm going to be good. You're not. I'm sorry. You're just not.
That's exactly what I thought, because I felt at one point in Valorant, particularly when FPX was not successful, that being a long-term CS pro is not paying off because you're stuck in routines that are not applying to the game. I think this learning process, like learning something new, is nearly impossible. It feels like for many players nearly impossible. I think one of the examples that I remember from 2020 was Rubinho, who played at Heretics. It was a long time ago, who never succeeded. There's like a lot of examples where Valorant, CS actually didn't help them.
Yeah. And by the way, love that guy. Fellow WoW player, respect. We all struggle with it. All CS players, we struggle with it because, like we were talking about at the start, there's a fundamental issue that we have where we think it's like we made the right play, because we think of it in Counter-Strike terms, but it's actually not. And so you really have to take yourself out of that mindset, and it's hard to do. And I think it takes like at least a year. You really have to be grinding Valorant a lot and just not playing Counter-Strike. I actually played an MM the other day in CSGO's first time in like a year. Okay. And I was playing with my teammates. So it's Tex, Ian, and then Quan Dicey was playing with us. Okay. And we queued up an MM. And I'm not kidding. I'm trying to jump jiggle corners. You can't do that in Counter-Strike. You jiggle. So it's like after playing Valorant so long, your brain is like switched to like you're trying to do Valorant stuff in Counter-Strike, whereas at the start you're trying to do Counter-Strike stuff in Valorant. So you just really gotta grind your way through it and get used to it. That's why you can't just switch and be good. And so I think a lot of these players struggle with that.
So I want to take a step back, and I'm going to try and tie the two together here. And we'll just say because Valorant has a lot of stuff to worry about, and being High Warlord Hazed has a lot of stuff. You got a lot of stuff going on. So in your WoW days, would you say that has helped you at all, being a High Warlord of WoW PvP and just mowing people down?
Listen, those were dark times. Okay, dark times. So I did it just to see if I could, you know what I mean? Like it's such a grind that I was like, okay, if I can do this grind, I can do any grind. It's not gonna bother me. Okay. So over 4 months, actually looked at my played time and I tracked it. I averaged 16 hours a day for 4 months. That was my average. Okay. So towards the end, I was playing WoW PvP for 20 hours and sleeping 4. And then I did that for, it was about 2 or 3 weeks. So it actually did help me because it made me so mentally strong. I'm like, okay, I can grind anything. And whenever Valorant came out, which was like literally right after that, I told myself I could do it. I was like, okay.
Look at you now.
Chet was like, dude, you should play pro. And I'm like, okay. I mean, sure, I'll try. And then I just started grinding. I was playing Valorant probably like 14 plus hours a day for about 3 or 4 months. And then I was like, yeah, you know what? Why not? TSM came knocking. I'm like, there's money. I'm here. Let's do it.
Well, how did that evolve now with you IGLing for energy? Because we just talked about how much you have to follow the game and whatnot and be ahead of the meta. So do you still have another 6 day where you're like grinding VOD reviews, where you're going in a server by yourself to set up plays for your teams with Josh RT? How does that schedule work today? You built up that titanium mental to survive these long hour trending days in front of a computer.
Hell no, I ain't doing that. Are you out of your mind? Oh, I said I could do it, not that I wanted to.
So Josh does all of it now.
Josh does a ton of work. I mean, I'm not kidding. He way more work than me. Him and Tony, who's our assistant coach.
Yeah.
He did legendary LCS coach, for people who don't know.
Nice.
Those two put in a crazy amount of work. They always have thing is when I joined, I thought I was gonna have to put in that type of work. I was like, okay, I'm gonna have to make all the strats. The whole strat book's mine. I did it with TSM where I made the whole strat book. And then when I joined NRG, it was like, yeah, I don't have to bring a single strat. They'll make all of them. And then I just have to tweak them. I'd be like, okay, I don't like this. I do like this. We need a strat for this purpose. I'll sometimes introduce a strat, but it's pretty rare. They typically do all the work. And then my main focus is actually fundamental stuff. And I can really focus on my own gameplay a lot, which is really nice. I've never had that in any FPS team. Instead, it's usually been me doing a bulk of the strat work. So yeah, they also they're keeping track of the other regions, how they play the meta, which makes it super easy for me. Yeah, I mean, it's so nice. It's so nice. I don't have to put in those hours. Yeah, I'm spoiled.
Oh, that's awesome. That's awesome. At least at that point, though, does that? Well, I mean, I've seen you start to frag a lot more as well. Maybe that's the cause as to not having to spend as many hours trying to build the strat book for the team and whatnot, and how you got the wisdom, in my opinion. But also taking a little bit of a step back though, and thinking about the fundamentals. Does it come into difficult discussions that you may have from time to time between you and the coach and the assistant coach when it comes down to, okay, I have this strat book, this could actually work, and how does your mind go into building out that strat book overall as a whole team?
Yeah. So I mean, we definitely butt heads sometimes. They'll
Okay.
like want me to play a map a certain way, and I'll just be like, I don't agree with that. Like, I don't think this is right, and then we'll go back and forth, and the process. You know, because I have a certain style that I like to call, how I want to see my team play, and that doesn't always align with my coaching or my coach staff. So it is a struggle sometimes, and we have to sit down and talk about it and be like, hey, I don't like this, I like this, and we'll work it out eventually. So sometimes we can't agree. I mean, it happens. Like, we just don't come to an agreement, and then I just tell them, I'm like, hey, listen, when I'm in the match, I'm gonna call the way I want. I'm sorry. Like, we can practice however we want, but in the match, this is how I think we should play. And I think they understand that. And so, like, that's why I never put blame on anyone when it comes to match time. We didn't play good strategic. It's my fault because I make the decisions in the game. And so we all understand that. So yeah, we butt heads sometimes, and it's always a process, but we get through it.
Okay, that's good.
Yeah, I wanna ask real quick, since you've been in Valorant since its inception, obviously maybe things didn't look as as ironed out or hashed out in way of like tournaments or even like players that you're playing with. Do you have any kind of interesting or funny experiences that you've had in this transition, or maybe even moments like the I don't feel comfortable trying to walk pick somebody mid, right? Has anything come to you, whether it be with TSM or now NRG?
Oh man, there's been a lot of times it's been uncomfortable. A lot. I remember. Okay, so something that was really hard for me was like when controllers started playing in their smokes. Like, they would throw a smoke like in the middle of a bomb site, and then they would just play in it, or like they would throw one for a teammate. Because I've always played in a way that you just always throw the smoke at the choke, and then you hold the choke. But that's not really like the most ideal way to play in Valorant. So, I mean, it's good sometimes, but not all the time. So that was like something that I struggled with really badly, and I pushed back. I remember Josh was like, he was like, I'm not gonna say what map or anything, but he was like, yo, you should really smoke like close to you and play in it. And I was like, Josh, you're stupid. That is such a bad play. Like, I remember we would just argue. We argued for months about it. And then eventually I came around. I'm like, all right, this is the right play. My bad. They're like, this. You're right. But like,
What,
I
and a Viper
struggled
smoke
big
on
time.
Breeze?
Like I said, I won't say.
Okay, so
No
so
comment.
there's a slightly, I wouldn't say philosophical, but very self-reflecting question. That is, would you say you've been better in Valorant or in CS?
I think I was better in Counter-Strike when I was pure entry, not when I was IGLing. I think when I was pure entry, because that's the kind of style that's just the person I am. Like, I want to go in first. I want to like lead the charge. I don't really do that anymore, which sucks. And I get yelled at a lot, actually, by the coaches, both whenever Chet was coaching me, whenever Taylor was coaching me, and when Josh and Tony are coaching me. They have all yelled at me. They're like, dude, I used to entry as Viper on Icebox. And they were like, dude, you have to stop. And I'm like, well, like, that's what I do. I don't know. I just see the gap and I go.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, but I think in Counter-Strike, I was mechanically I was really good, actually. I was very, very good when I was entering. But I think I've improved since switching to Valorant. I think like right now is probably the best I've ever been in Valorant. Like, which is weird because I'm getting older. I don't think I should be getting better. But if I do feel like I'm getting better. So yeah, I don't know, because now I'm on low sense and I've like kind of learned to play on it. I'm a controller. I had to change my style completely. So I think now I'm better in Valorant. Right now it's the best I've ever been, but in Counter at the start of my pro career in Counter-Strike, I was like, I thought I was crazy. I thought it was really good.
If Angel could still win a Masters event at that age, I think you could still win a Masters or a champion right now. Hayes, I fucking believe in you. And actually, that brings me into a transition that I want to get to, because you've been around the scene for a while. Angel's been around the scene for a while in CS until now, even CS 1.6 until today. And I wanted to know, like, your advices for like new Valorant players, because I think this is also important to ask. Because even yesterday, there's been some drama going on the TLs between, let's say, Frosty and Nadeshot about, you know, things being handed on a silver platter from one end or should not be, and then you had all the fucking boomers of our age coming out of the woodworks. Back in my day, the grind was this. We were paid peanuts and stuff like that too, and I want to make sure that we don't bring some sort of like Sigma grind set that you have to actually play 16 hours a day to try to fucking make it through, and that you need some sort of like work-life balance. So what's your best way and best advice that you could give to these young individuals that are aspiring to become pro? Is it about the 16-hour grind set, or how do you manage that?
I mean, it can't, the 16-hour grind set, that Sigma stuff, man, I mean, you can do it and you will become a god. But listen, it's not sustainable. You're going to burn out. I mean, that's just the truth. If you can do it, then do it. Honestly, if you can, just do it. But like, I don't recommend it. You know, the way we all started, especially us older generation, it was a hobby. We loved doing it. So we played, you know, I played for, people ask me all the time on stream, like how I started. And I'm like, dude, I played for like 15 years without making money. Okay. I just did it for fun. It was just something I did in my spare time. I'd, you know, come from school, I'd scrim, play a match. You know, I was just hanging out with the boys. I was having fun.
Yeah.
And then, you know, whenever I decided that, you know, maybe I could go pro, I still had a full-time job at the time. So my schedule was I'd sleep 8 hours, I'd work 8 hours, and then I'd come home from work and I would play for like 7 hours. But that isn't really sustainable for most people, because I lived with my parents at the time, so they cooked for me. You know, I had them do my laundry. I didn't have to do anything. So I was able to do that. So it's not really sustainable for the normal person. But if you can just, it first and foremost, it has to be a hobby. You have to enjoy it. You have to just enjoy doing it. Don't force it. Don't think of it as a career. I think that's terrible. If it happens, it happens. Yeah, just love it. And if you don't love it, if you don't do it as a hobby, if you're thinking only money, just don't even bother. Just go do something else.
Yeah, actually, that brings me to another question, actually, because if you don't want to think about this as a long-term career or something that you could live off of in the long term, what's that like for somebody who's quote unquote made it into the pro scene, where let's say you could get cut within the next year or two, or your career is only 5 years, and you don't really have like a B plan right after that? How can you leverage like an esports career to have something come out of it that you could continue to thrive off of outside of esports competition when if you've made it as a player?
That's tough. I mean, you really, if you know what you're doing, especially on like social media, I think that's really important. If you constantly try to build your brand while you're a pro, if you have followers, I mean, that is valuable. And you know, you might not believe it, but you can make some decent money off of smaller brand deals. You don't have to be a big time streamer or anything to get brand deals. You can be a smaller fish and still get away with it, and you can live off of it. It's not going to be the most ideal way to live, but as long as you're like building your brand and your socials, once you make it, you can even start before, to be fair. As long as you're building your brand, you set yourself up for at least having options afterwards, either as a content creator, or, you know, maybe you stream on the side, maybe just a little bit to work on, you know, your on-camera personality, so that you could do something like casting or analyst work, or something like that, or you make connections behind the scenes while you're a pro. So you're always talking to people at events or online for online events, and like make networking is the most important thing you could ever do.
Yep.
I mean, that's just number one. That's as a player, and for what you want to do afterwards, because you're not going to get on top teams without getting recommendations. And so the only way you get recommendations is by being friends with people. You have to be likable, you have to be good, and you got to have luck. So that's just the way it is. If you're a sick player but you're an asshole, good luck, man. You might have one shot, and if you mess up that one shot, you're done.
Yeah.
So yeah, you have to be likable and you have to be good.
I agree with you. Like even if it's a hobby or a passion that you want to get into it, at the end of the day, once you've made it, it's also somewhat of a job. And when you're at a job, you actually have to work. It's not because I've gone pro that I've signed that I don't need to watch demos. I don't need to spend time within a server because I've grinded 16 hours a day in fucking and I'm Radiant top 50 for like the last 3 acts. That doesn't help into developing yourself as a player, a career, or being a team player overall. So that's probably my biggest takeaway too, is that you got to keep working. You got to figure out your next avenue, and you got to figure out your plan B and C all the time, and no matter what aspects of life that you're currently in. So that's some great stuff. Thanks. See, that's why you're the fucking wisdom, James. But yeah, now it's actually time to talk about champions. It's time to bring out the spice, because that shit fucking starts off tomorrow, and I know we're all excited. We got to go for a fucking break. We got to pay some bills. Thanks again, Twitch. Thanks again, Juked. We're going to take a 3-minute break, and when we come back with James, we'll talk about champions. If you've enjoyed the show, please like and subscribe, and make sure you hit the bell for the future noties, but also comment below with what you'd like to see in our future shows. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, here to Valoranting with Zesh Van Silly, Tana Metro, and Hazed. And during the break, I know we're about to talk about champions, but during the break, we had a chance to converse a little bit between us four, and I'm fucking hyped up to know what the fuck James has to say about champions, because I'm pretty fucking stoked about this. James, you are telling us that Edward Gaming is top 3 to potentially make it champions. Still, tell me why. Tell me why.
I like to, first of all, let me just say, I like to keep it exciting. Okay, so I didn't know. I watched them play. I don't know if people or like even looked at their bracket. Like, it wasn't the sickest bracket, right, to qualify. But they didn't drop a map. That is insane. Okay.
Yeah, but okay. Well, have you watched their games?
I watched them? Yes.
Did you watch them against Onslayers?
Yes, I did.
Didn't you think Onslayers just played like shit though?
They didn't play great, but here's the thing. Okay, hurry up. Hurry up. Okay. They have the exact same playstyle as PRX.
Yes.
Like literally the same. And so when I watch them, to me, it's like flipping a coin. Like, I don't know who's gonna win, because they both have sick players and their style is the same. It's like super like rush down. They overwhelm you with util, and they just it's so hard to deal with. I've experienced it. It's hard. I think whoever wins that match makes it out of groups, and I think EDG is going to make it out. And I think because of the way PaperX played the last tournament and overwhelmed everyone they played, I think the same thing is going to happen if EDG wins their group. I think they're going to overwhelm everyone, and I have them as a top 3 team.
You said that you experienced this firsthand. What team here in NA plays this style? Do you think FaZe? You think it's they're that close to mimic this style of EDG and PRX?
Literally the same. Like, the way they play is the same. Okay. We scrimmed FaZe. They were our scrim partner for not last chance qualifier, but the one before, Copenhagen, right? It was Copenhagen.
Yeah.
They were our scrim partners, like our main scrim. I think we scrimmed them maybe 15 times or something ridiculous during that whole qualifier run.
Yeah.
They beat our ass. I mean, they ran at us like we were shit players. We just weren't even good. And they demolished. I think our scrim record against them was 2 and I think we beat them twice, and they beat us like 13 times or something ridiculous.
Damn.
They demolished us, and it's so overwhelming. It's hard to deal with, even after you make adjustments. So I feel like whoever wins that match is going to make it out. But I also know that if EDG loses their opening match, I think they go 0-2. Okay, because that is, I think if you lose that opening match and you play that kind of style, you start to like doubt whether or not it's the right thing. Now, they're a super inexperienced team from what I understand, right? Like no one's ever seen them before. So I feel like if they lose, they go 0-2. But I don't think they will. My prediction is their top 3. I believe in EDG, baby. Let's go.
So you talked about their inexperience. Do you not think that matters, that they're coming into the event and right off the rip they have to play the number 2 from our last Masters event?
That don't matter.
No. Hayes sticks to his guns, man. I like that
I'm
about
sticking
you.
to my
Hayes.
guns
like
here, all right? I believe in EDG. It's literally the same team. Am I wrong? They're the same team.
Listen.
Okay. I mean,
go.
Okay, so they could frag, they could trade. I think that's what I was gonna ask you as well. He's like, what do you see that's so similar to PRX? Because PRX for me, one thing that was good for them is that they actually had really good set plays, like trap plays on top of that too. Like the overwhelming with utility was good ways to actually get you like blinded, fucked up, break crosshair placement. You're like faded at an EDM concert, and then suddenly it just, as the security guard just fucking hits you with a clothesline. You know, like I think that's how PRX plays. But where EDG plays, they're just really good to have Kang push forward, own you with an operator, and then just have maybe life, satchel in, dash in, and entry and like individualistic plays, in my opinion. But I could be wrong based on what you've watched, because you're a fucking IGL here.
So you go and look through the statistics, and it also, I mean, obviously you can see it in their play, but I had to double check. So I had looked at the stats first, and then I watched their play. So nobody who's their initiator had the highest cast I think I've ever seen throughout an entire tournament. He had 83% cast, which is super high. And if you have a super high cast, that tells you inherently that they are playing as a team. And their whole team had high cast, for the record. But he 83% is absurd. That is so crazy. That means, one, everything they're doing is working, and 2, they're doing it together. And so that's really important. That, to me, that shows a fundamental base. And then I went and watched how they did it, and it's all through set plays. They have so many set plays, and they also have protocols, which we talked about earlier. Like, it's obviously, I can't tell you exactly what their protocols are, but I definitely know that they have it, because I've seen they did similar executes with the same result in the post plant. It's like they know exactly how they're going to push. It's actually even higher than I thought. That was just for the finals, actually. Yeah, 86%. That is crazy.
Yeah.
Over 3 maps. That's absurd. Yeah, they are fundamentally good.
But listen, you just said if you're losing that first game, right, and you're placed out and you're doubting yourself, do you honestly believe that at that point in time, teams, when they're losing such a game like the Paper X Edward one, do you think they start to doubt their playstyle on the international stage? Do you actually think that's like a thought process they'll have?
I think so. I think they could get nervous. I really do, because, like, for example, you know, this has happened to me as an IGL. We went into a game with a certain plan, and if it didn't work, like, I would notice mid match, mid half, I'd be like, wait a minute, that like, this is not how we prepped. Like, what they're doing is not how we prepared for it. So we need to change, and I would make the change, and sometimes it would work, sometimes it wouldn't. But like, I would recognize those things. I'm like, going into the next map, I would say, oh my God.
I think there's cats in fucking in Zesh's house or
someone
some
just
shit.
got attacked.
Are the Turkish cats there?
No, not yet. There's only Appa here. Go on. Please, I didn't drop anything on the floor. Sorry. The question.
No, you're good, man. Don't worry about it. Yeah, I to be honest, I don't remember what I was saying. So
you were about
changing,
adapting mid round.
Adapting mid round. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't.
Oh yeah, so I'd go into the next map and I would say, like, okay, I'd be talking with the coaches. I'd be like, look, you know, do you agree, disagree? Like, we would talk about it, and then if we agreed that they had definitely changed, I'd be like, okay, well, they could clearly change for the second map too. So we would come up with a new plan sometimes, and it would work, or sometimes it wouldn't. But most of the time, it works. But like, that is an adjustment that you can make mid-match, and they could do that after. If they lose their opening match, they could, especially if it's like 0-2, right?
Yeah.
They could go to the next one saying, okay, we need a different plan. And I don't know if they have time to make the adjustment, but they could. And especially if you come into it with backup plans already, they could just switch the backup plan right away.
So I want to talk EDG. The way that they play, obviously, is one thing, but their IGL in Haodong is sometimes a Viper and sometimes an Initiator and then sometimes a Neon. And like with you having IGL experience, do you feel that that affects the way that you can play from map to map and series to series? Like it feels like there's just so much to worry about when your play style is literally changing every single map because one time you're a Neon and the next time you're a Viper.
Honestly, that's my dream. I mean, that's all I'm saying. That's my dream. Are you kidding me?
James wants to frag.
I have been preaching playing Neon. I'm like, please let me play Neon, please. No, but like so I can only speak for myself. I don't think that's a disadvantage because I'm the type of player that wants to change all the time. I hate playing the same agent every map. It's so boring.
Yeah.
So it gets me excited whenever I get to play different roles and do different things. Does it cause a little confusion? Sure. Like it's like one map I'm the entry, one map I'm not. So like I'm holding flank and then suddenly someone's not holding flank because I'm not on that role anymore. So yeah, it can cause confusion. It can cause problems, but it's from what I've seen, not really cause very many problems for them. They look really good. So I don't know, man.
Yeah, and looking at it, then if you're looking at trying to adapt on the fly, and sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. Do you feel that this was something that was that went through the process of your match versus 100 Thieves, for example, during the LCQ run? And how do you think 100 Thieves are going to do at Champions, being able to face off against them during the LCQ?
What do I think about 100 Thieves? No.
What's the scoop?
No. I think they got really unlucky, and I don't think they're making out of groups, man.
Oh, shit!
I think
really?
they got...
Okay, give me the spice, give me the spice.
Their draw sucks, man. They got... their group is so hard. There's no, I just don't see them making it. I just really don't. I don't think they have the experience for it. Every team in this group is insane, including 100 Thieves. They're all so good, but I don't think that they have it for this one. Sorry.
Even against a DRX that might be like the DRX of like the playoffs, or like somebody that crumbles, or a team that crumbles, or Derek's performances during LCQ. What are the scrimbucks that you're currently hearing about 100 Thieves, or at least about Champions?
Well, I mean, I don't want to talk too much about the scrimbucks.
I gotta say all the fucking scrimbucks here, man. You gotta know the scrimbucks.
I've heard whispers of certain teams being incredible, some teams not being so incredible. 100 Thieves is not one of those teams I've heard about, to be fair.
Okay.
I don't have info on them, but obviously I've played against them. I've scrimmed against them. I know the type of team they are. I don't think. Okay, so the way I look at it is, if I was in 100 Thieves' shoes, well, like, would I give NRG a shot in this group? And to be honest, speaking for my team, no. I actually don't think we'd make it out of this group. And I don't think 100 Thieves is that much better than us. I think we are very close. And it reflected in our match and in our scrims. We play each other very close every time we play. And I don't think 100 Thieves is there yet. I just don't. So, I mean, Derek's incredible, but he's not. Okay, he's not going to.
You don't think it's going to outclutch Xiao?
And this group is, they got unlucky, man. They got fucked. That's what you don't get. This is unlucky.
I get it.
It's going.
How do you feel?
Sorry, man. Sorry. Yeah. Well, I was kind of curious because this is like the only group. It's a niche thing, right? It's a super niche thing. This group is the only group outside of Fury that has always a double coach setup. That sounds like a super niche thing, right? But do you think like the combo of Mike S and Sean Garris might have the opportunity to anti-strat their way out of the group? I mean, anti-stratting against teams that haven't played for so long is most definitely difficult in my eyes. But don't you think that could be like that formula that that could still give them enough outside of scrimbucks?
Is it enough? Well, okay, they are a very good prep heavy team. I will admit their prep is incredible. I think they're the best in NA at prep. But they're playing against. Okay, so the way I look at, like, I always look at a team and I'm like, okay, what's their style? Like, what are they good at? And 100 Thieves is incredible at post plants. Like
Mhm.
their comps and the way they play is very
Yeah.
post plant heavy. So
Mhm.
if you let them on the site, they're probably going to win the round. Not all the time,
Correct.
but probably.
Yeah, yeah.
But whenever I look at like the rest of the teams in that group, it's like, so like, what is everyone else good at? I feel like they're also good at post plants, but then other things as well. So they just don't stack up enough. I think they're too new of a team. Is the problem?
Mhm.
They're
Mhm.
too new. They need more time.
Yeah, I could see that. Like,
But are you? Go ahead, Vance.
no, sorry, just to add a comment before you add this, Tanner, because I was gonna say DRX is probably like one of the forefronts that always tries to shift the meta with new compositions that could
Mhm.
throw 100 Thieves off guard. Or you also have Fnatic that has like the type of triple flanks that you saw from like what was it, like Masters 1 or something like that. So I could definitely see that. But I also see that 100 Thieves also comes out with things out of their pockets too that that they can have some cool plays as the I think the map against you guys on Bind more specifically. But go ahead, Tanner.
Come on, man. Why you got to bring
I
that
mean,
up?
I
man?
got kind of
Why you got to bring that up? I want to. I'm right now introducing a new segment, Hopium or Nopium, about the rest of NA. What do you think about Xset? I think earlier on the show we kind of had Psycho basically for Xset was like, hey, if we keep doing what we're doing, we've constantly been getting better. They have been able to kind of crest their 4th place plateau, obviously making it to champions, but obviously they still have big shoes to fill. And then we also have, Optic, who I think is still kind of a large unknown for North America because we haven't seen them in a second. What do you think about the rest of NA?
Man, I'm gonna get absolutely flamed for my lack of patriotism. I don't think they make it out this group either. I'm so sorry. They're an incredible team. Okay, hold on. Before I continue, can I just ask y'all so if we had to rank the groups from like hardest to easiest, how do y'all see the groups?
Okay, that's actually a great question. So like, which one is like the group to death to the easiest group?
Yes.
D.
So I think Group D is probably going to be the hardest for that second place coming out. I think Group A is going to be difficult for the second one coming out. I think Group B could be a shoe-in for Loud and Optic, and Group C, I think it's also a battle for second place between Crew X and Xerxia, but I think FPX is a shoe-in.
But the easiest group was his question. What are the hardest, easiest?
The easiest group is B.
I think, yeah.
Agreed.
Okay, so we all agree. D is the hardest, B is the easiest, and then A and C are somewhere in the middle.
Correct.
Right? Sure. Okay. Yeah, so back to Xset. Like their group, okay. I have it ranked second hardest because Crew and Xerxia are like the most wild teams. Like one day they could look like they're going to win the tournament, and the next I'm just not sure why they should be there. So like dude, when I look at that group, I'm like, that is the most chaotic group I've ever seen. And I think FPX and Crew make it out. Crew's look incredible at every tournament they've been to. I've undervalued them at every tournament they've been to.
Yeah.
And I'm not going to make that mistake again. I think I'm just not. I'm sorry. And Xset did not look that great. At the last one, I can't remember the name of it, but the last
Copenhagen.
Copenhagen, thank you.
Yeah.
I can't, every time I think of a tournament, I want to say Berlin. I just, for some reason, I want to say Berlin. And it's like, it's not Berlin.
So you want to go to Berlin? You want to play the European franchising or partnership program next year that just got announced, right? Or reported at least, but yeah.
Man, I'll go slap up Europe. I don't mind. That's fine.
I love it.
It's not how it works.
I love it. I love it. I love it. Even Xerxia for me is like one of those sleeper ones that you can't discredit them, right? So I think Xerxia might be able to finally pull something out too. I mean, they had some tough matches they had to play against in the last tournament session.
Yet the only thing, because we talk about sleepers and teams that can be really good, the only one that's too much of an unknown to me is Boom. I will not lie to you.
Nah.
They're too unknown for me. They're too much of a like, am I actually on the, high on Hopium with them or not? Because they've been looking all right.
Not great.
They've been looking okay in the APAC one, right? They've been looking okay. But convincing, I don't know. I'm not 100% sold on that. I'm just curious what they bring to the table, because I think from all the teams we're talking about, like an Edward, Super Run, everyone's hyped for them, amazing, right? Xerxia, as just mentioned, can't be pop off instantly. But with Boom, it's like, what am I actually supposed to expect? But whilst not looking too much at APAC, I'm not gonna lie about it. It's still like too much of an unknown for me.
Yeah. I hope that I'm going to be wrong on it too, because for me, Boom didn't look good at all during the APAC games, and like the main setups at the beginning of the rounds weren't that great either on how they want to take map control for Boom. And then I hope that it's going to be one of those storylines where I was thinking the same thing about Zeta Division, and then it got third place at Iceland, right? So I hope it's that case, but for me, Furia and Boom are pretty low down there out of the 16 teams going. But
Understandable.
yeah, and then it goes on to ask about Optic, because now we have Xset not making it out of group. Now we have 100 Thieves not making it out of group. What about Optic at least here, James? Because you've worked with Chet before. You've played with Pujan in Counter-Strike. You know his mindset, the way that he IGLs. And did you think that watching them during Copenhagen was a stale Optic, in a sense that they weren't improving onto the meta as much as when we saw them at Masters 1? And do you think they could change that going into Champions?
Yeah, I mean, they did look a little stale. They didn't have the greatest performances individually either. It was just a culmination of a lot of things that led to their performance there that wasn't, I mean, it was suboptimal. But even like a suboptimal performance, in my opinion, it was, I mean, look, they got third, right? So like, not that bad, considering.
True.
So
we just wanted to win.
No, yeah, I mean, like, they're my boys, right? So I'm always going to root for them. I think they got really lucky on the draw. This is the easiest group. I think we all agree with that. And no question, I have them making out first in the group. I know Loud is also in the group, but man, I know they've been putting in work. You know, they boot camped prior, and I'm not gonna divulge any information on them. Obviously, I have plenty. But I'm man, I have a lot of faith in them. I really think they're gonna do well. I I don't know if they're gonna win the tournament.
Yeah,
but I do have them in my top 3. So
okay,
I think they'll get top 3 again.
So if Edward Gaming is a top 3 and Optic is a top 3, who's your third top 3?
Yes.
Yes.
Guess
okay.
who?
PRX.
FPX.
Right, it is FPX.
I just wanted to say, when he talked about FPX, he didn't, right? Yeah. Okay.
No, we didn't talk about FPX. It is FPX.
So why FPX then as your third one?
Are you kidding me? They have the best player in the game, Sugetsu. That guy's insane. Dude, they played like an entire tournament without him, and then they brought him in, and then they won it. And I'm just like, they played good without him, and he's the best player. That team's incredible.
Yeah. So you don't think it was like a Cinderella run when he finally joined? They're doing the lower bracket run. It's just like they just click, and it shows that it could potentially repeat itself.
Yeah, I think so. I mean,
okay.
Like seriously. So leading up to the tournament, obviously I'm very good friends with Chet.
Yeah.
And he was telling me, like, in scrims, they're like James, you don't understand. Sugetsu is literally the best player I've ever seen. Like, he's so good. And they played most of that tournament without him, and they still won.
Yeah.
And then so the whole time I'm thinking, like, dude, whenever this guy finally gets in the server, there's no chance. Like, how are they gonna how can they lose? And then it's exactly what happened. He got in the server and he just took over on characters that you don't take over on either. Like, he's like top fragging on Viper and stuff. I'm just like, yo, what is going on? That's crazy.
You could do that now on Viper.
I don't know. Not Sugetsu. I ain't no Sugetsu, my boy. I think I'm good, but I ain't that good.
I want to probe for Optic real quick. Maybe this will get you to say something for us. Chet gave us a statement saying, the shit that we're about to do, we're either going to finish in first or finish in last. Do you have any insight as to what that shit might be?
No comment. Just know that they're cooking. They are cooking right now. They are in the kitchen.
Okay.
Yeah, there it is.
Hopefully they cook out something tasty and come with a dessert of having the Champions Trophy, bringing it home to North America. And with that, I think this is going to complete the time that we have with you, James. First off, amazing to have you on. Always fucking cool to have a chat with you, especially when we have somebody who's in the mid-30s like me. I have somebody I can relate with. So, are you not in the mid-30s yet?
You better watch it, boy. I am. I'm 33, but you don't got to bring it up, man. What's your problem?
Let it die.
All right, well, at least let's surface up the shoutouts that you have to give at least for yourself before. Where can we see Hazed next? Are we gonna see Hazed during the partnership program with NRG in 2023 for Riot?
Yeah, you will. If we make it, I'll be there. You know, I was considering retiring this year.
Okay,
I
nice.
strongly considered it. I'm in January. I actually told my GM, I'm like, I'm done. Like, this is it. But I changed my mind. I'll play next year. I'm gonna play on my contract. So if we get franchising, I'll be there. If we don't make franchising, then I'm forced to retire. So, but yeah,
Well, actually, what
I'll
made
be
you
here.
want to stay? What made you want to stay then? Why the change of heart?
You know, when you play with a team that like literally everyone is your friend and you like hang out with outside of just practice, and it's just always a good time. That it almost doesn't feel like a job. And
Yeah.
so this was like, you know, I haven't experienced a team like this since Mouse Spaz, like way back in the day.
Yeah.
Where it's just I'm just playing with the boys. And we're just like, we're getting paid to play with the boys. It's like the best.
Yeah.
So I was just having a good time. We went from, you know, 17th in NA to 4th. We showed tons of improvement. We actually are like contenders within NA now. So it just kind of like every box got checked. And yeah, I'm just having a good time again playing, you know, playing competitively.
Awesome. And even your roster in Mousepad, let's bring it back here. So, oh yeah, Bike Cage, the general manager that you guys have for NRG, looks like
Hey Jamie.
looks like you already written your pink slip here for yourself, James. So no, just kidding.
Well,
but
looking at chat though, he's making me worry that like maybe he had other things in store for me. Like maybe it's not my choice. I don't know. Maybe I'm cut.
Let's find out. Let's find out later on into 2023. But just to really quickly too, because you talked about Mousepad. So that was you, Tarek, the face of Valorant competitive when it comes down to watch parties. Pujan, JDM, and who was your fifth? Cutler. Oh, Mr. Cutler.
My
How's
boy.
he doing these days? Is he still playing in N8V? Is he still playing in the tier 2 scene?
I think so. I think he's still a native, but I'm not sure. I mean, I don't talk to him too often. We kind of like passing ships in the night at this point. We don't, you know. I still love him to death. If I saw him in person, I'd give him a big hug. I'd kiss him on the lips. That's my boy.
Hell yeah. I want to be there to see it. And until then, James, I once again want to thank you for hanging out with us. Zesh, Tanner Metro, always a pleasure to have you on the show. Thank you, all three of you, for bearing with my edginess of today. I don't know what the fuck happened, what took over my life, what took over my body, but today was a good day. And with that, we close off the show. Thank you for another week of Valoranting. We'll see you next week, 2 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on twitch.tv/DNP. Peace.